What's up, everybody? It's Gary V, and this is the Sports Card Strategy Show, because you know this, there is no off-season.
Yes, this is DJ Ski.
I'm Jeff Wilson.
Hey guys, Andy Broom, Vice President CGC Cards.
Hey, this is Jason Howarth with Panini.
Yo, I'm Q Harrison.
This is Teapot from Sports Card Investor.
I'm loving the content.
Loving the content here.
The Sports Card Strategy Show.
The Sports Card Strategy Show.
This is the Sports Card Strategy Show with your man, Paul Hickey. What's good?
Part of the NoOffSeason.com Sports Card Network, the #1 place for advice on how to make money flipping sports cards. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, there is no off-season.
You already know there is no off-season.
No off-season!
All right, you ready to rock?
Ready to go.
When you get into this game, the reason why you pay someone like Paul Hickey to get your sports card strategy together is because sometimes when you're starting out, you need perspective, you need wisdom, you need insights. And so he's been around the track enough times where he can actually coach you up and guide you. Doesn't mean he's going to take you to the promised land tomorrow, but you now have a coach by your side that can advise and kind of even create these pathways where you can get the education yourself. And that's a lot better than thugging it out on your own. Thugging it out on your own.
The kids better buy my rookie card now, because after this year, the price ain't coming down.
Welcome in, everybody. I'm your host, Paul Hickey. It's time to sit back, listen, learn, and earn with me on the Sports Card Strategy Show. Kendall, the Lefty, McKee, and I are here to help you learn how to make money flipping sports cards. Today, we're going to talk about how to snipe eBay auctions. Our plays of the month is now the best time to buy Victor Wembanyama. We're prepping for NBA draft night. Lefty's already in New York for Fanatics Fest. So we're pumped about that. And we're going to get into some US Open. Big trade in the MLB that we want to talk about. And then we're getting ready for NBA draft night in a couple of weeks. Lefty, already in NYC for Fanatics Fest. How you doing, my man?
It is live in New York City. It is Monday morning. And then let me tell you, the city never sleeps. That's all I'm going to say. We got in, my wife and I got in super late last night. But we are here and ready to rock and excited. The city is already bustling out the window behind me, brother. It's going to be a good time. I'm excited for Fanatics Fest this week. Some of my plays that we're going to talk about are in relation to that, and I'm excited about seeing you this week. That's really where I'm at. My head is at the end of this week, Paul Hickey and I will be in the same room again together, live and in person, and there just so happens to be some Kremlins that are also going to be with us. The Cody and Chase will be with us as well. It'll be a fun weekend.
I can't wait. And I know all of you love Lefty on this show, but I'm telling you, he's that much better in person. It's hard to believe, but he is even better in person to hang with. And I can't wait. I cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun. And not only the Kremlins, but a lot of our other card friends we're going to be able to hook up with this weekend. I can't wait. All right, so we'll get into Lefty's play that he wants to talk about related to Fanatics Fest later on in the show. Just a 2-second US Open recap. JJ Spawn, good for him, has no cards. If you were to use our card analyzer and predictor tool, there's somebody just like photoshopped a quick art card of him, and they're probably going to print it, and it actually sold for $8. So
good for them.
I mean, that's a hustle move right there, and I don't hate it. Ludwig Alberg did not make the cut. Lefty reminded me in the pre-show that we at least have to mention that. And that sucks, of course, but like we said, we still think he's a guy that we're going to see his Sports Illustrated for Kids card go up when he does eventually win a major, because we still think he will. And we won't get into any more US Open talk because we've got many more relevant topics to discuss related to cards. So speaking of that, Lefty, let's get over to you for the big trade we need to talk about today. That's going to affect some guys that we've talked about quite a bit on this show.
Yeah. So last night, as I landed, kind of a unique and cool story, but as I landed in Atlanta from Lexington on my pathway to New York City, I'm sitting there and I realized that there's some buzz on my phone And so I check in on Twitter, and looks like Rafael Devers has been traded from the Boston Red Sox to the San Francisco Giants. 2 years into his massive 10-year contract with the Boston Red Sox, there began to be a split between the organization and him, as he did not want to come off of third base, and they signed Alex Bregman because Alex Bregman is a better third baseman, maybe not better in the box, but better at third base. And so they thought Devers was going to make a transition to first base, and he said, "You can kick rocks on that idea." And he said, "I want to play third base." So the tension between him and the Red Sox began early this season, and it just continued to sit there. So as I land in Atlanta, this trade happens where they send him to San Francisco with his entire contract already going to San Francisco. The part about that that's relevant is San Francisco almost got Carlos Correa. They failed a physical, and Carlos Correa did not go there. They almost got Shohei Ohtani. They actually announced that they signed Aaron Judge a couple of years ago, and then Aaron Judge's deal with them fell apart. And so then he went back to New York in a monster free agent deal. So they've been looking for this middle of the order bat for you could say years. They actually haven't had a 30 home run hitter since Barry Bonds did it in 2004. That's 21 years ago, Paul. So Devers has done a 30-year home run twice since his start of his career. So San Francisco got their guy. Uniquely, though, they have a Gold Glover at third base, so he's not going to play third base in San Francisco either. So we'll see about that. But uniquely, the part that's relevant for us after talking about all that is there's some prospects that, yes, have moved over to Boston, and largely they're irrelevant right now, at least. Hicks and Harrison are pitchers, and that even though pitchers can be profitable, we've seen that over the years. We've seen that over the last year and a half, that pitchers can create a market if we buy in at the right time. This isn't guys that we'll be buying in on at the Sports Card Strategy Show. Neither of these guys is worth an investment, even with the move of their team. And then the other two guys are young enough. Their first-round pick from last year, actually out of Florida State, also got moved. Tibbs, he also got moved over. I'm still not excited about him yet. I don't think that this is relevant for Cards from a prospecting standpoint, nor a Devers standpoint. But the reason why we're bringing it up, and I know this is a little bit long-winded at this point, but the reason why we're bringing this up is there's two guys that I believe that it is a small relevancy for. There was a logjam in this lineup where Roman Anthony and Marcelo Meyer had to take bats every once in a while. Now they will clear up a spot for them to have regular at-bats. They won't necessarily platoon those two dudes anymore. Roman Anthony and Marcelo Meyer will get increasingly more attention at the major league level, and they'll be able to figure out what they're doing. So I know we haven't really talked about Roman Anthony since his call-up. His call-up should have been a selling marker for all of us when we heard the news. And Marcelo Meyer has been in and out of our system and our rankings over the past, probably 3 or 4 years. But I just believe it is a small way for them to get more and more relevancy in Boston. And I do believe that they both will make an impact at the major league level for this team that is struggling, but has just swept the Yankees this week.
Yeah, that's good stuff, Lefty. Quick question for you, because I know a lot of our listeners are probably thinking about Roman Anthony and maybe even Marcelo Meyer. And we've seen Pete Crow Armstrong's card prices skyrocket due to his season that he's had. When I think back and I look at, me, I'm trying to think about like pattern recognition. So we've in the past, we've looked at call-ups as being the big selling marker. And I think to a certain extent that still is true, or at least pre-call-up. I think there's also like prospect hype when they're still in the minors. That's like pre-call up. That's a selling marker. There's also the raw to grade strategy. And then we have, of course, performance spikes, which we don't necessarily want people playing into too often. We think that like a certain small subset of your portfolio, if you really feel strongly about a guy and you can get a good deal on a card, could be a good play for a performance spike as a selling marker. But I think when something happens with a guy like PCA, I think the entire hobby starts to go, okay, who's the next PCA? So get your crystal ball out. Tell us, out of Roman Anthony and or Marcelo Meyer, do either of these guys have a chance, say maybe late, like early in their career, but maybe not this year, have a chance to be not the next PCA, but from a card standpoint, do they have a chance to have a performance spike like we've seen from PCA due to their future good play?
Well, I think the jury is still out on Marcelo Meyer. I wasn't even as high on him when he came out of the draft as Jordan Lawler, and Jordan Lawler hasn't exploded onto the scene like we wanted to hit for him to do either. But I do think that Roman Anthony's market mirrors a lot more of PCA than a lot of people want to admit, probably. He hasn't exploded on the scene early in the major league level, but at the same time, his game is very similar to PCA. He's fast. He plays center. He plays, he can hit. He can throw. He's a 5-tool player, and we've seen 5-tool outfielders be investable, especially once they get to the eye-popping reality of being a dominant center or a dominant outfielder in general. And PCA's market started really slow. His first little cup of coffee in the major leagues, everybody. I have a friend who's heavily invested in PCA, and
I think I know who that is.
Yeah, and he was just like, "What do I do with all these cards?" Because his market wasn't thriving when he first got into the major leagues because of his performance wasn't there. And then all of a sudden, it just went bananas because he uses his speed, he uses his hit tool, he's big in the outfield, he's diving for balls in Wrigley Field. So PCA became something later, which is honestly not something we see very often. I do think Roman Anthony could be that same kind of card profile. I do think Roman Anthony's rookie cards will be something that we will look at as well when the Topps Chrome rookies and all that kind of stuff starts coming out, because he was such a long-baked process for his Bowman cards to reach the majors. I mean, we had Roman Anthony cards 2 years ago that we were talking about. And so I think now there will be such a long prospect fatigue from his Bowman cards that I think there might be some graded to raw some raw to grade opportunities for his rookie cards specifically, maybe some rookie autos and stuff like that. I do think we'll have to wait and see, but I think that could be a play on our website in the future, barring if Roman Anthony gets the same amount of attention. And for that, you'll have to tune in and see if we make that recommendation in the future. But it is possible, and I think maybe even likely that is the case for him.
Speaking of our website, nooffseason.com, go premium now. Multiple pricing tiers, weekly, monthly, and annual. Use the promo code NOOFFSEASON to save 20% now. And if you want to just pick a feature, you don't have to get all of our great features. You should, but if you want to pick a feature, you can pay less. And we've got our inventory tracker. We've got our card analyzer and predictor school. We're the #1 place to find the top sports card auctions, not only overall auctions that we think you can make money on, but auctions by player is a new feature that we just added. So check it out. Again, nooffseason.com, go premium. Use the promo code NOOFFSEASON to save 20% now. We used to do a free trial, and now we do a $2 a day option. So if you want to try us without a big monthly or annual commitment, there's a daily option that's $2 a day. There's a weekly option that's $9 a week if you want a little bit more time to try us out. So we don't do the free 30-day trial anymore, but again, you can save 20% and you can try us for $2 a day. So I wanted to talk about the NBA draft real quick, Lefty, because it's coming up.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah, me too. And here's the deal. I'm looking at my calendar. I think this is relevant because I think all of you should be doing stuff like this. So this Wednesday is the 18th of June. The following Wednesday, so a week from this Wednesday, the 25th of June, is the NBA draft. It starts at 8 p.m. So why that's significant is we should expect at Topps.com Cooper flag autos. And I want one. And I don't care what it costs. I want to get one. And now in the past, what they've done is they've done this for NBA and NFL, and they're non-licensed still. So these will not be licensed, but we've seen tons of draft picks, not just even the top pick. And I'm saying I'm only going after Cooper Flag. I'm not going after anybody else. I don't necessarily think the audience should be going after anyone else, although we can talk about that. But we've seen the top pick in the NBA draft, their draft night autos go for a lot of money after, like a lot of profit on top of what they sell for on Topps.com. A lot of profit after on the secondary market after buying them on Topps.com. Stephon Castle, 2024 Topps Now auto out of 99, sold for $500 a month ago. Now he won Rookie of the Year. He had a great season, but that's the kind of stuff that happens. Bronny James, his Topps Now draft night on card purple auto out of 25 in PSA 10, which these should grade pretty well actually too. Sold for $800 a couple months ago. So, I mean, you can get some major profits off of this. Like, Khalil Ware, like not even a relevant player from 2024, his rookie draft night jungle non-auto out of 25 in PSA 10 sold for $120. Dare I mention this name, Lefty? I wonder if you'll remember this reference. Denny Avdia.
Oh yes, I remember.
From 2020 in a BGS 9, sold a month ago for $95. And this is just a Panini Instant NBA draft night. I mean, I don't even know how that's a real sale, but it is. So anyway, you can make quite a bit of money on these. And I think, so what I expect is Cooper Flag autos that you can go buy that are serial numbered, short printed on card, as well as the other draft picks, but it's going to be a race to buy them. Like we're probably going to have another few shows leading up to the NBA draft, like we did leading up to the NFL draft. And we're going to try to be going to Topps.com and PaniniAmerica.net and try to figure out what they're doing, when they're launching it, what the format's going to be, and all of that stuff. Because I think the minute that these things launch, I think it's going to be high traffic at Topps.com. It's going to be hard to get these, but it's definitely going to be worth trying to get the Cooper Flag autos. Now, what I expect at PaniniAmerica.net is they're probably going to have some autos. They're not going to have Cooper Flag autos, though, because he's Fanatics exclusive. They may or may not have Cooper Flag cards. If they do, I will be looking to buy those too, because those will be licensed and they will probably have some limited edition short printed out of 5s, out of 10s, out of 25s, things like that. I would expect both websites to also have our neighborhood friendly jigglers and grenades, which I will also be buying. So I just want to put everyone on alert. I don't think we're going to have to hurry to buy the jigglers and the grenades because they should be up for their typical 3 to 5 days that they're up for. But I do think you're going to have to set your calendar alerts to jump on Topps.com and try to get Cooper Flag autos, because that's what I'm going to be doing. And Lefty, remember a couple years ago, you and I tried to get a Wemby and we were going to split it. We were texting each other during the lead up to that with like the 5-minute countdown. And a couple of years ago, that was big money for us. I think I was a little bit nervous. Are we going to have to buy this?
No.
But I think it was we would have each had to put in $1,000 or something like that.
I think it was $2,000.
I think it opened at $2,000. And I mean, we definitely would have doubled our money at least on that.
Yeah, I think we've got to get out ahead of this situation for our strategy this year. And I wonder if we just do a draft night show or something, just so we can be on top of what Panini and Topps is doing. I think Cooper Flag's been a revolution for us as a sports card community, especially here at the Sports Card Strategy Show. So maybe it's a draft night play, and that would be fun to watch together. But I think what we need to realize here is we're at the point now where if you put your cards on auction right now for a 10-day auction, they're ending next Wednesday. And I think that's relevant right now because of some of us have used the draft as a selling marker as well. And so if you are preparing your auctions for a 7 or 10-day auction for the cards that you have currently or in your portfolio, then you need to be paying attention to this side of the draft as well. Cooper Flagg is going to be an electric player. We all have cards for him. We're very excited about him being in the NBA. We're actually, even though I believe that it's rigged, I am glad that he's in Dallas rather than Charlotte or in DC. I think he's going to make an immediate impact as soon as Kyrie and Anthony Davis are all on the court together. That will be really, really fun to watch. And I think it'll be cinema. It'll be cinema. And so it'll be really fun. I'm looking forward to the draft night. I don't really care about anything other than Cooper Flagg. As you have said, there are guys that people are going to ask us about, and it's going to go further down the list. Man, really the only other guy that I'm even slightly interested on where he goes is Connor Knippel. So, and that's just because he's been Cooper's running mate at Duke. And I don't even really care where he's going from a card perspective. I'm just interested because he's one of the only other names I care about right now.
Yeah, I agree with what you said. I mean, it could be a selling marker for Cooper Flagg. I would also say that the summer league is going to be pretty exciting with some of these guys. Yeah. So if you're holding cards for some of the other NBA draft prospects, maybe list them in a buy it now or best offer first, and then keep the faith, because if they don't sell for what you want them to sell for across the NBA draft, the summer league is right after the draft. It pretty much starts right after the draft in early July. So that's like, it seems like there's not that much hype around the summer league, but yeah, exactly. Like it doesn't seem like, if you're new to this, like it doesn't seem like there's much going on during that time of year, but like people actually bid on a lot of those cards in the summer league because ESPN covers it. There's like huge coverage of the summer league, and then people will see so-and-so new rookie or second year guy put up a lot of points or, whatever in his debut, and all of a sudden his card prices skyrocket. And it really does happen. Like we've seen it happen. I mean, Bull is always the guy that comes to everyone's mind in the hobby. Like for 4 years straight, Bull's cards sold during the summer league for no reason. I mean, a Victor Wembanyama Tops Now draft night DN1 that you and I made a lot of money on raw to grade after we bought it. That was, that's kind of where this is all based on, guys, is like Lefty and I have made a lot of money on the raw to grade Tops Now unlicensed cards for the first overall pick, not for Shohei, but for Victor Wembanyama. Like we skipped last year's draft, but we made a lot of money on Wemby. We're going to do the same on Cooper Flagg. But one of those raw cards just sold for $20, April 21st, a couple months ago. So like that's Victor Wembanyama was injured. This card's 2 years old. He has tons of other rookie cards, and one still sold for $20. So like these cards do well, and we need to buy them. So stay tuned for more on that.
Can I ask you a question in regards to this?
Yeah.
So we saw this become relevant. What I'm about to ask you, we saw this become relevant during the NFL draft, but we didn't really, for us, it didn't impact what we're doing. But I want to bring up the fact that there will probably be a grenade or a jiggler of Cooper Flagg in both Topps Chrome or Tops Now, and also Panini Instant. One of them will have him in a suit like it did for, the NFL draft night cards. We had the draft night cards from Panini, and then we also had Tops Now cards where Cam Ward is actually just in the suit. And it reminded me of when we saw Wemby in his, suit as well.
Yeah, because Wemby does have that as well. Yeah.
I wonder, Paul, like, have you given too much thought to saying which side of the card world are you going to buy the instance, or are you buying both?
Yeah, I'm buying both because I think I was so focused on Topps.com in 2023, and for whatever reason, I didn't even buy any of the draft night Wembies, and that's a sick card. That one just sold a week ago for $15 raw. So like these things, so yeah, so just so everyone understands what Lefty's, just to clarify, PaniniAmerica.net should have draft night cards of the guy in the suit holding up their jersey. These will be licensed. They'll have the Mavericks logo. I mean, unless something weird happens with the trade, it'll be Cooper Flag holding up an actual Mavericks jersey with a Mavericks hat, Mavericks logo on the card, everything like that. RC Shield from Panini. That'll be a grenade. I'm going to buy those. At Topps.com, there will be a version that'll be like a closer up picture of Cooper Flag in whatever he's wearing, a suit, walking up to the podium. It'll say Dallas, but it won't say Mavericks. And it'll say like first overall pick. So those will probably grade better because typically those Topps cards grade better. I'm going to do both. I'm going to get jigglers, probably multiple jigglers, probably multiple grenades. This is what I've been saving up for. So I'm excited. And then I'm going to also try and get an auto at Topps.com if I can. The jigglers or the grenades at Panini America, like those should be available for a few days. So I don't know if we're going to need to rush on draft night to get those, but we're definitely going to need to rush to get autos unless they do what they've started to do, which is include memorabilia cards and autograph cards inside inside the jiggler, which then you just have to basically hope and pray that you're lucky enough to get one, which Lefty was lucky enough to get a sneaker. Is it a sneaker auto of Cooper Flag?
It wasn't an auto, it's just a patch, but it currently is out of 25. Actually, it's always been out of 25, but it's currently at PSA, and excited for when that shows up. I don't think I'm going to have it by draft night, but definitely a cool card to have.
Wouldn't it be nice if there were a tool that you could just upload pictures of a card and it would tell you what the card would grade and or what it would be worth in the future? We built one. It's our card analyzer and predictor tool. Go premium at nooffseason.com. Use the promo code NOOFFSEASON to save 20%. If you're not sure what to search for on eBay to find the best cards, visit our top sports card auctions page at nooffseason.com. And if you're confused by grading your cards with PSA, grade with us at nooffseason.com. Send us your cards. We do the hard part and save you money. In light of PSA taking 65 or more days for the bulk value submissions, and many of you wanting to make these plays on these NBA draft cards coming up, nooffseason.com is now offering CGC, SGC, and Beckett. In addition to PSA, when you grade with us, just select grading company on the form. We do the rest for you. We track your gem rate. It's time for play of the month. All right, Lefty, I'm pumped about this card. I like, it's not often that I sort of fall in love with like the design or the look and feel of a card, but as I've, focused in on only 5 players this year, I've had to dig deep into each player's portfolio of cards. And, WNBA Prism has been out long enough now to where the market has sort of settled, at least for a little bit, on Caitlin Clark. She had a heck of a game returning from her quad injury, so her prices might get a little bit more expensive here, which should be good for me because I've actually already acquired a lot of her WNBA Prisms. But the play that I'm making right now, and it's not a cheap play, but it is the logo card of her Prism. So this is a short print or possibly a super short print. It's not serial numbered, but I believe it's an SSP, and it is the logo parallel of there's one for her pooping, her 22 pooping card, and there's one for her 145 where she's spinning the basketball. And so I've bought one of each. They're going for around somewhere between 390 and 420, 430, as high as like 430. I've bought 2 or 3 of them so far, because the reason I say 2 or 3 is I bought 3. So one for 428, one for 389, and one for right in between those two. And what I've done is one of them, I was actually able to select at checkout the PSA Value Plus option, where it just goes directly from eBay to PSA. So I finally did that. It was super fast. Like, I already have the grade. It's already shipping back to me. It got a 9, which I'm slightly bummed, but I'm also okay with the 9 because there's barely any of these cards out there that have been graded. And so the ones that have been graded are going for a profit in a 9. So I think I can, TBD on that. This is my play of the month. This isn't the win or loss. So we'll talk about whether or not this is a win or loss later, but I think it's going to be a win. And then I got a second one of so that was the 22. So actually, I don't think I've won any of the 145s yet, but I'm still going after them. So I'm only getting the pooping ones so far. So one got a 9. Another one came to me physically, and I sent it to PSA. So that's at PSA. For whatever reason, there was not the option to do the Value Plus grading. And then a third one came to me, and I looked at it, and I thought, this is definitely not a PSA 10 based on the grades that I've been getting back from PSA. But it could be a BGS 9.5. So I sent it to BGS. So that's my play of the month. The Caitlin Clark 2024 WNBA Prism logo super short print. And I think it's a badass looking card.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty sweet card. I think the W is something that's continuing to grow. I've tuned in over the last couple of years, and of course I'm an outlier there, but at the same time, Caitlin Clark is doing some things that is worthy of notice, and we've known that for a long time. This card is really cool. I think the W logo in the background is pretty sweet. I personally like the 145 card more than I do the 22 card or whatever the other. I think it is 22.
Yeah,
the
you're right.
pooping card, if you will. And these cards are already going up from where you bought them from. So, I mean, just the raw value of these cards are going up now that she's back and playing, which is what we said a couple of weeks ago, that we had a small buying window for Caitlin Clark because of her injury. And we still believed that this Fever team was going to come back and be as dominant as they can be. And we saw that. They beat the undefeated New York Liberty the other day with Ionescu and Brianna Stewart. So Caitlin Clark had her coming out party again, as she reminded all of us, oh yeah, by the way, I'm still a dog. So I think it's a cool play.
Thanks, man. I'm excited about that card, and over to you for your play of the month.
Yeah, my play of the month centers around what we're doing here in New York. We went ahead and got the VIP tickets, and we've talked about how we haven't been as excited as we could have been because of the way that they marketed Fanatics Fest, et cetera, et cetera. But Paul texted me earlier this week and texted me a link and said, hey, VIP pass, here it is. Here's the registration for the 3 drops that we can get into. So I decided to get in on the Topps Chrome Cactus Jack release. So my play of the month actually is going to be the Cactus Jack release at the Fanatics Fest. I know that that's a limited play that not everybody can be making, but I still thought it was valuable to talk about. It's quite a lot of money, honestly, for a box of something I'm not excited about at all. But I'm going off the recommendation that we've made money on this in the past. And so I'm like, okay, somebody wants this Cactus Jack cards box. And so we're going to go after that. The other 2 releases I was also excited about. I didn't have the eligibility to get into the other 2 because of how long I'll be staying at Fanatics Fest, because you can only pick them up at certain time periods. And so the Series 2, I believe, there's a specific one for Fanatics Fest box. I probably would have bought that one, but I wouldn't have been as excited about it. And there's an F1 release as well for Fanatics Fest, which I actually do think is relevant, because now I'm not telling you to go buy some wax from F1. Yes, I am essentially telling you that, but not in any other case. Like, don't do this. But I think it would have been an opportunity had I been able to get in for that one. I think I would have gotten in on this one as well, because F1 has 7 rookies on the grid right now, or 6, and then 1 in his first year still. And I think F1 is just in a place where people are starting to watch it again. And I think a Fanatics Fest release would have sold for more than what you could have bought it for. So would not have ripped it, would have sold it right away, but people would have been like, you're buying F1 cards again? Well, no, I did not end up buying them. And I'm curious to know which ones of the 3 that you ended up buying, if it was just Cactus Jack or if you went for the other 2 as well.
Well, should we be lucky enough to win the opportunity to buy these cards, because that's how this works,
True.
Then I am buying all 3, because I am immediately going to be able to walk over to either a Dave and Adams or a Steel City Collectibles, or even just a regular vendor's booth, and likely within 10 to 20 minutes, double or potentially even quadruple my money. If it's I think the Cactus Jack is going to be the one out of the 3, believe it or not, that it's going to sell for the most. And I mean, the other 2 look good. And then I think hopefully, Lefty, will be able to use our VIP passes to get other Fanatics Fest exclusive wax releases from Topps, in addition to the 3 that we were eligible for the VIP. Non-VIP people will be eligible for some other Fanatics Fest exclusive stuff. We'll just be able to get in a little bit earlier than them, so hopefully we'll be able to get them, to kind of guarantee our spot on some other. But I mean, last year I not only paid, like, if you look at your expense sheet for a trip, right, you've typically got like parking at the airport, you've got your flight, you've got Ubers, you've got meals, all that stuff. Well, last year I profited from my entire trip, like basically flipping the Cactus Jack box and the other exclusive Topps releases at the event. Like, I think I paid myself $100 or $200 total after expenses to go to New York for this trip. So it was people just wanted the Cactus Jack release like crazy. So hopefully you and I will win the opportunity to buy that. And if any of you in the nooffseason.com fam are doing the same thing, we wish you the best of luck as well. You definitely should get in on that, because I mean, it's going to charge your credit card like $400 or $500, but you're going to be able to immediately go get $1,000 to $2,000 cash after you get that box, like within probably 20 minutes. So have fun doing that. If you like the content on this show and want more, go premium at nooffseason.com now to get unlimited advice answered on our Friday podcast for premium members called the Premium Pod. Go premium at nooffseason.com. Multiple pricing tiers. Use the promo code NOOFFSEASON to save 20% now. All right, Lefty, we're going to go quick here. My L of the month. I got to report my L. My L of the month is the Star 1986 Michael Jordan cards. Now, I will say that it's not that I'm preying on your downfall. I just have been really wanting you to talk about how this ended up. So it didn't end up that bad, but I do have to report it as an L, because essentially I broke even, and I did. So overall, I am making quite a bit of money on Michael Jordan cards this year, but the Star 1986 play that I set out from January, I was very excited to buy Star 86 BGS graded Michael Jordan cards. I bought a bunch of them at Culture Collision. I reported it on this show. I got all excited. I then cracked them out of the BGS slabs, submitted them to PSA. They were at PSA for months, which I'm okay with. They weren't graded by PSA. I also wasn't charged for the grading fee, which is okay. So that wasn't really a huge L, although it's an L on me for not really doing my research well enough to understand that there's certain star Michael Jordan cards that grading companies don't grade, but BGS does grade them, which is confusing. So I assumed that because PSA has made this announcement in the past that they're grading star Michael Jordan cards, I assumed that, oh, they're in a BGS slab. These must be the ones that PSA also grades. Nope, they're not. So what I had to do was send them back to BGS. Now, on some of them, they got the same grades. Most of them got the same grades. Some of them got a slightly lower subgrade, which lowered their overall grade a little bit. Some of them got a slightly higher subgrade, which upped their overall grade a little bit. A couple of them I bought raw on eBay and graded at Beckett. Now, so far, I have broken even, which has resulted in a slight loss on all of them that I've sold on eBay. So far, I'm about 10% under on my specifically 1986 star BGS Michael Jordan plays. And I'll say that there's about between 8 to 10 total cards. So without going through all the details, that's where I'm at with that play. But again, this was about learning, right? This is all about learning. So, and it's about mitigating the risk. So it was an L. I'm not super happy about it, but when I look at what my strategy has been this year versus my strategy last year, and in previous years, I am doing better. Now, I will say this. The Reholder 1985 Nike promo play that I made was also a break even. So my thought was this old PSA 7 holder, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to buy it for less than comps. I did that a few months ago. I got a Reholder at PSA, so a new holder. The market doesn't really give a crap about a new holder, apparently, because I sold it for the same price that I bought it for, which was a loss of the eBay fees of about, 13 or so percent. So that's my L of the month, Lefty. What do you got?
Yeah, this L could have been catastrophic for you if, had things played out a little bit differently.
Yeah. If I would have had to sell them raw.
Yeah, had you sent them back to BGS and either BGS was like, yeah, we don't really grade these anymore or something stupid.
Yeah, I was a little low-key worried about that.
Yeah, or if they sent back and they said, oh, actually, these are reprints, or they sent them back and they said, oh, actually, these are trimmed. You just never. We have had stories, not that you even hear about. You've heard about them from us, where this is where this vintage to crack and resub has not always gone the way that we wanted it to go, nor even close to that. So I think this, honestly, that you took a stab at this and were out there trying to do something that was first to the market in a really cool and big way, is awesome. And I'm glad that it wasn't catastrophic for you. I think that would have been such a hard thing to not only listen to and watch, but it just would have been a hard thing for you to rebound from, I think, from how much money you spent on the Star 86.
Yeah, because that's true, because they are expensive. And I do still have, I'll give you one example. So $950 I paid for one of them, sold for net profit of $879. So it's a $71 loss. So some of you were like, well, what is it exactly? So that's 7% loss. So that's a good example. Another one, $750 paid, $728 got it back, net profit back. So that's a $22 loss. So that's a 3% loss. So there's a lot of that. Now here's a win. So $422 to $461, $39 win. So that's 9% win. So that's kind of when you're going through. Now I do have, I think 5 or 6 still at BGS. So there is a chance that this could come out slightly on the win side, but right now it's slightly a loss. And, you're right. I'm definitely happy about that being a loss of only a few percent, rather than the other way around. It could have been pretty bad. So, what do you got for your L, man?
My L of the month has I'm still recovering from a catastrophic first couple of months. But my CGC and SGC cards, I've talked about this already, but I finally got grades back from the Bowman Chrome U Cooper Flag play. I bought about 40 of these, the first that I thought were going to come back and seemingly looked fine on eBay. The print run is like the quality, the QC on that run was terrible. So I ended up getting some just pretty bad cards in general. I actually had to sell 23 of them back on eBay as well. And I've been able to recoup some investment there. So, just like you with these 86 stars, I've been able to recoup some of it with a slight loss. But I was paying about $8 to $10 a card when they first came out, because I thought being a first to the market on a graded CGC to SGC play would be pretty cool here. But the QC was just god awful on these cards. And but I'm selling them for about $6 to $8 raw now. So I was able to sell back 23 of them. The 17 that I thought that were good enough to be graded still graded pretty poorly, unfortunately. I have about 8 10s between the two companies. I am looking forward to see how those grade or how those sell side by side. I think we've made a pitch to say that the CGC and SGC cards that grade 10s will sell for similar money, and I'll get the opportunity to look at that pretty soon. I also got 9 5s in several of them in both categories as well, which is I always forget that that's even a possibility, because that's not something that PSA really does. But 9 5s typically sell for pretty good money as well in comparison. So, I think, am I going to make money on this raw play? I think I'll break even as well. So this is my L of the past month as well, because I bought 40 of these. I mean, that's quite a lot, especially when they were going for around $10 or $12 a piece at the time. So, and then uniquely though, one thing that's really strange that has happened for me, Paul, is when I bought some of the cards that I was buying on eBay, they would throw in some of the not parallels, but the I always forget the word for this. The inserts, yeah. So I had a couple of inserts from Cooper Flag as well, and the inserts actually outsold the Chrome U cards. And so I sold 4 different inserts this week for like $10 to $12 a piece, and people just threw them in on the other side. So that has been a small W as we go into the W's to recoup some of the investment on this play.
That's a scrappy move. I like that. And usually that doesn't happen, everybody. So just for those of you that are not as familiar with the hobby, like usually inserts don't do well, but maybe in certain niche cases like the Bowman Chrome U Cooper Flag cards, I have seen some WNBA Prism like Caitlin Clark inserts do well also, probably because it's Cooper Flag and Caitlin Clark. So
I mean, I just listed them for 99 cents, expecting them to go for 99 cents and for me to make, something and not having to hold the card. It ended up selling for like $8 to $10 a piece. And I was like, what the heck is this?
Yeah, that's great. Are you ready to start grading your cards? Lefty mentioned CGC Cards. It's the perfect place to slab your favorite sports cards. From their crystal clear holders to their affordable pricing, CGC Cards is the perfect stop for your grading needs. Go to cgccards.com to start grading today. I sent my Shedeur Sanders draft night cards all to CGC Cards. Okay, my win from the past month.
Have you seen, hey, while we're on CGC, have you seen the new way that they're submitting cards?
Like, I don't know. In person or how?
No. So online, they went to, I saw a video about this on my Instagram feed. They have a ability now to, when you're submitting cards, you actually don't put in, apparently, I haven't done this firsthand yet, but apparently the advertisement was saying you don't actually put down what cards you're sending in. You just tell them how many you're sending in, and then they're saying, we'll take care of the rest. So the onboarding process of the submission takes almost zero time at all for CGC. So should be interesting to see how that plays out.
That actually makes sense. I kind of like that. I'll have to check more into that, but that's interesting. Good call
I would
there.
assume it's because, half the people get the entry wrong anyway. So they have to do their own research and relabel it anyway. So
they got to do it anyway. That's a good point. All right, I'm going to go through my wins pretty quick. So one was the Cooper Flag Bowman U Now 44 play, which I almost didn't make. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because these types of plays continue to be the highest gem rates. They continue to sell well when you pick the right player. We help you recognize the right card for the right player because they're not always going to be a play, but Cooper Flag number 44 Bowman U Now, I bought 20 of them using my Tops Now points. That was another big stipulation for me on this play. And I profited a total of about $200, which is not a ton for 20 cards. It was about $10 a card. But I was happy about that. Another play that's worked well for me is the Caitlin Clark Prism WNBA. I've done really well raw to grade here. Now, I haven't gotten all 10s, but I've graded several of them and like a dozen or more. And I've only gotten 1 8. And then the rest are kind of split between 9s and 10s, which is really what I'm trying to encourage all of you guys to do when you use our sports card rankings, our raw to grade sports card rankings. Buy in bulk, buy many, grade in bulk, and then you will win. And so Caitlin Clark, for example, a WNBA Prism Cracked Ice 145 in a PSA 10, paid $129, sold for $300, total net profit of $170, 132% ROI. Got several more like that. A couple that just sold basically like literally last night that I shipped out today. One of them that I made, so on the 145, just base Prism, paid $58, sold for $306 and a PSA 10. So that's a 289% ROI. And so that's just the raw to grade, like a base card. So, I mean, she's doing very, very well, right now. And, I think part of it could be that performance against the New York Liberty. I had my auctions like ending on a Sunday night, and she had that game over the weekend. Another raw to grade play on the base, 22, the pooping card, made 180% ROI on that. So bought it for around $68, sold for just over $200. So doing really well on my Caitlin Clarks. Not doing as well on the Arch Manning. I kind of already reported that the raw to grade Arch Manning. I'm kind of stopping on the 2024 Prism, but definitely Caitlin Clark's working out for me. What's working out for you, Lefty? What have you won on in the last month?
Yeah, well, I just would like to say I love that woman. Jeez, how much has she done for us, man?
I'm glad I picked her as one of my 5.
Amen. I'm glad that she's alive and doing great things with the basketball. But I also have had some wins this week. Some of my PSA submissions finally popped from like way earlier this year. I mean, like January, February, finally having cards come through. So I actually have a Travis Bazzana raw to grade play that came back, an auto of his that came back a PSA 10. That's really exciting. I thought it was a gradable card when I bought it raw, and in fact it was. So that was really encouraging. And then I also had the select Caitlin Clark cards come back, and they all got 10s as well. So that's a very long play for me, as feels like we've been talking. It feels like those two cards we talked about in like 2020, but it was actually just earlier this year, but it was before the Cooper Flag bonanza went on, which I feel like the Cooper Flag and Arch Madness has been what we've talked about for the last couple of months. So for Travis Bazzana to re-enter my wins of the month has been interesting, but good. And you always like when you do a raw to grade play successfully and you pop a Gem Mint 10 as well. So that's been really exciting. Just having some grades come across from PSA that weren't just dog doo-doo was just exciting in the first place. But to have some select prisms or select silvers, I forget what they're called in select because I hate select. Those have popped pretty well, and so I got good grades there. My other win of the month is that Cooper Flag card is specifically finally at PSA, and they are going to grade that. The slight L is that somebody lowballed an auction on the same card, but I think it'll be okay because mine will be in a slab. And then the win of this past month is, Paul, I get to hang out with you this week. Come on, let's do a little bit of sentimental speech here for the Sports Card Strategy Show, and we get to hang out and be boys. And I'm sure we'll make some fun content while we're here, and it will definitely make some cool plays that we're not expecting. And we'll probably see some people that we weren't expecting. Yesterday on my flight, Mark DeRosa from MLB TV, the 16-year veteran, former Texas Ranger, was in the flight with me. So as I was walking by him in first class, I said, "Hey, DeRosa, what's going on?" And he goes, "Hey, man, how's it going?" And I said, "What do you think about the Devers trade?" And he goes, "Honestly, I'm still trying to wrap my head around all the money that's moved from Boston to San Francisco." So there you go. That's my win of the month.
Lefty, what a great win of the month. I'm excited to hang out with you too. Working on our Liberty tickets. We'll see what we can do for Thursday night.
Oh, come on.
And breaking news. While you were reporting your win of the month, I got paid for a Shohei Ohtani auction that ended last night. Listen to this. The 2018 Bowman Chrome card number 1 batting I bought for $296 raw in an auction back in, I want to say February that ended. I sent it to PSA. It got a PSA 7.
Ooh.
So I cracked it out, and the auction just got paid for, and the total that it got paid for was $465.
Okay.
My total net profit after fees was $408. So in spite of a PSA 7 that I cracked out and sold raw, I made $112. So I made a 38% profit. Now, the reason I tell you guys this is because part of the reason why I picked the 5 players that I picked is because I knew that I could go buy high dollar cards of them. And if the cards didn't get the grades I wanted, I could do this because they are who they are. And if I bought them at the right time, I could potentially even make money. Now, did I expect to make $112 profit on a card that I got a PSA 7 on a raw to grade play? No. But I'm just telling you guys it's possible. So
there's some pretty extensive Shohei news today, actually. We didn't even talk about it. Today is his first start of the year. He is pitching against the Padres tonight.
That is pretty extensive news. Thanks for bringing that up. I've been my head's been elsewhere, so I've been trying to do all I can to bring up the Sports Card Strategy Show with the card news, and that is certainly relevant to it. So I appreciate you bringing that to light here, Lefty. I'm moving today, and so I have to wrap the show now so that I can go to our closing. But I'm super excited to hang out with you later this week, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. But first, I'm going to let Lefty go hang out with his wife. But first, I have a video from Sports Card School, how to snipe eBay auctions. So everybody get pumped for this video because it's really going to help you make money flipping sports cards. Lefty, I'll see you soon, brother. Here it is, everybody. How to snipe eBay auctions. Buckle up. What's up, everybody? Paul Hickey here with NoOffSeason.com. You're in Sports Card School. And right now we're talking about sniping eBay auctions. What do we mean by sniping eBay auctions? What does sniping mean? We say that word a lot. Well, basically what we mean is trying to get the best deal on a card. And so when we talk about sniping eBay auctions, basically what we're referring to is finding auctions that either end at odd times, don't have a lot of views or watches on them, thus don't have a lot of bids and competition, and may be going for a lower price than the most recent sales comp. So different strategies, different ways to get a deal on sports cards. We talk about buying at the right time. It's got to be the right card for the right player, but it's got to be the right time. So sniping is a way to essentially try to get a card at the right time. Now, sometimes, it's got to be, it pretty much always has to be the right time of year, the right seasonality, or the right dip in a certain player's card market. But sometimes the right time actually refers to time of day or time of night or time of middle of the night. And so all these different ways can help you save money on buying sports cards, which gives you more profit margin. So we'll talk a little bit in this lesson about how to snipe an eBay auction. And then this is going to give you an idea of how you can do this on your own. And feel free to ask us any questions. Go to nooffseason.com/ask and reference this lesson, and we will elaborate for you. So here we go. Let's get into it. So the first thing you're going to do is go to ebay.com, my friends. And if you're overseas, you might have a different top-level domain extension other than the .com. It might be like .ca in Canada, for example. But I mean, the first thing you're going to do is start to look up a card. And I'm going to use Joe Burrow as an example. Right now, as I'm shooting this video, happens to be a dip in Joe Burrow's market. So I just typed in Joe Burrow PSA 10. Now, the phrase will typically be a little bit more granular than that. We'll put in something like Donruss Optic Hollow PSA 10 2020, like this one right here you can see on my screen is just that exact card. Now, what I've done though, that I want to point out is I've filtered by auctions. So you can't snipe anything off eBay really, unless it's an auction. Now you can lowball somebody on a buy it now offer, which we'll get into, I'm sure, in another lesson. And we talk about that on the Sports Card Strategy Show. But auctions are a great way to buy because you're going to get the fair market value. So this is sniping eBay auctions. So you're going to click auctions. That's going to automatically filter out all the buy it nows, right? So that's what I've done here. Now, another thing you can do that I want you to do is see this little tiny word up at the top of my screen called, it says advanced. So currently my graphic is covering it. So I'm going to hide my graphic here. And now you'll see this little tiny word right here that says advanced. Now this is in a different location if you're using the mobile app, but it does exist. So I'm sharing it with you in my browser now. Click advanced. And now it's going to bring up a bunch of other ways that you can filter this. So now you can filter items that hit a certain price point. So if you're looking for maybe a higher dollar item or a lower dollar item, you can filter by different price points. You can actually filter by free shipping. You can filter by different seller categories. So if you want to only show items from different types of sellers, that is another option. Now, in terms of what I'm looking for right now in this particular section of the advanced filter is how to sort by ending soonest. Because if you jump online at, say, an off hour of the night or early morning, you may want to find auctions that are ending within the next 5 to 10 minutes because chances are not many people are going to be up at those odd times. So that is definitely a takeaway from this lesson in sniping eBay auctions, trying to not only filter by auctions, and maybe filter by top rated sellers and things like that here in this view. You can also filter by auctions ending soonest. And I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So it's actually really simple. It's a little bit hidden, but under show results, you can see here items ending within 2 hours. And what you can do is do 1 hour. And what I like to do is weed out any items that don't have a certain amount of bids on them, because here's my thought process there. If you are going to bid on an auction and there's no bids on the item, there's a good chance that what that seller has done is priced the item minimum bid amount at higher or very close to recent sales comps in an effort to try to get somebody to bid on an item thinking they're going to get it at fair market value, but really they're selling it for higher than the most recent sales comps just on their minimum bid. So I like to do something like number of bids. And I just want to pause that real quick, everybody, and just point out that when I talk about the fact that we have built auctions pages, top auctions pages at nooffseason.com, we did this for you so that you wouldn't have to do this on eBay. And that is a new feature to nooffseason.com. So that is a good point that I'm making in this video, but also you could use nooffseason.com's top auctions pages or auctions by player and essentially find the same thing. A minimum bid count of like 5. You could even do a maximum bid count to kind of limit the amount of competition that you would have on a particular item to something like 15. Now this is going to limit your search queries. You can always come back and adjust this later if you want to. But now if I click search, now what it's going to do is give me items that are ending soonest within a particular competition that I want. So this is actually great because you can see here potential items to snipe now. Even though it says Joe Burrow PSA 10, that just basically means there's no Joe Burrow PSA 10s ending within the next hour between 5 and 10 bids already. But what's interesting is, look, you get Giannis Antetokounmpo PSA 10, 2013 hoops. That is in 6 minutes. And it's only got 12 bids and $202.50. There's a Drake London no huddle rookie auto PSA 10 that ends in 3 minutes, only 6 bids. But what I'm going to do is go back here and show you kind of the strategy behind sniping one of these. Now, what I would do with a couple minutes remaining here is I would bring up market movers and I would see, like, what's this Drake London, for example, autograph gone for? If I can get a sales comp on this Drake London, Prism, no huddle. Just see if I can get a little sales comp on this. No sales comps on this at all in the last 14 days, 180 days. There's a no huddle. You got to get So you could also use our card analyzer and predictor tool to chart out the card that you're looking for in addition to market movers. Either or would be great. PSA 10 in here. See if we can get a sales comp on a Drake London PSA 10 no huddle. So just the base Prism last sold in October for $50. Now we're looking at a situation where we've got an opportunity to get an autograph. There's 1 minute left, $58. I'm going to zoom in on this card, and we've got an autograph, Drake London no huddle, ending in 59 seconds here. So I am going to show you right now in Sports Card School how to snipe a card. And I've just gone ahead because this happens to be ending right now, and there's no reason why this auction should be ending right now. That's the other thing that you want to take a look at. Like, this is not a situation where Drake London is doing anything on a Friday afternoon to generate hype. For all intents and purposes, we're looking at potentially a pretty good deal here. So you might be getting nervous. There's 6 seconds left. So what you want to do is you want to put in your bid with like 2 seconds left and see if you win the item. Got outbid with 2 seconds left. I didn't win the Drake London, but what I did was very, very strategic here. I was not going to pay more than $63 for this card. And guess what? I'm okay with not winning it. Somebody won it for $64. They did a better job than I did at sniping the auction, but that, my friends, is how it's done. Only 7 bids on a PSA 10 Drake London rookie Prism no huddle auto. What a great card, great snipe, and that person sniped me, but I'm okay with it because you know what? I still have that $63 in my budget to potentially go after this Giannis. Let's go after this Giannis. This is a good example as well. This is just the base, so we're gonna find the base right here. Boom, here it is. Last sale, $244. This card's down. If I can get it for say $240, $250, I feel pretty good about that. I'm gonna try to snipe this. I don't have a copy of this card yet. I'm gonna tell you something. 3 years ago, I bought a PSA 9 of this card for $300. Now a PSA 10 is available for in 55 seconds. Maybe I can get this card for $245. What a steal here. I actually think that this card, if we look at the all data, we see that this card sold in 2020 for almost $2,000. But realistically, during the season, this card is like a $400 card, just on that quick little look that I did right there. As we have about 25 seconds left, I'm looking up some additional sales data. This card sold for $473 during the lead up to the NBA season a year ago. This card sold for $375 just randomly, multiple times during last April. And so I think if we can get this card for, I almost got it, but I was talking to you guys too much. I meant to put in 242. Somebody sniped it for 237. Again, I got out sniped. That's how it's done again, everybody. So I'm okay with losing auctions that way. And quite frankly, everybody, you're going to lose more than you win, and that's okay. And it's one of the rare scenarios where you actually lose more than you win, and you want to be okay with that because you don't want to overpay and you want to buy in auctions. And a minute ago, I reported on a win on the Shohei Ohtani card. And the reason that card was a win is because I bought it in the same fashion that I just showed you guys how to snipe these auctions. Now, you can use automated sniper tools. Some of you might be wondering about that. There's more on that in Sports Card School at nooffseason.com. Everybody check it out. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you again soon. Thanks so much for being here with us on the Sports Card Strategy Show. If you enjoyed the content on today's show, there's plenty more waiting for you at nooffseason.com. Just go to nooffseason.com right now and get a free 30-day trial. You get our formula-based sports card rankings, Sports Card School inventory tracker, the ability to grade with us, and the premium podcast where we answer an unlimited amount of your questions. Check it out right now at nooffseason.com. For everyone at nooffseason.com, I'm Paul Hickey. Thanks again for being here with us on the Sports Card Strategy Show. We'll see you again soon. Have a great day.